This video continues from the previous video. So we've talked about individual colors and some of the things they can mean and what they look like in context. And obviously it goes much, much deeper and there's more to explore. But this sort of gives you the overview of the association that we have in our culture in the United States with colors, Western world in general. When you start putting them together to get color combinations, that makes an impact, as we also kind of briefly discussed. And so when you start looking at different combinations of color, what then happens to the psychology of them when you combine those colors? Right? As we've talked about, the context determines the positive, negative, or neutral aspects of each color. So in combination, when we have color combinations, the dominant color is going to drive the psychology. And then the other colors either support it or they oppose it or they contrast it, right? So it's not just as simple as red as anger. It depends on how it's used and the other colors in connection with it. And then it matters how the principles and elements of design are then applied. So it starts to get really complicated really fast once you start putting all these things together. You're juggling with multiple balls at one time, and it becomes, harder and harder to keep up with them all. But practice, right? Working on small parts as we're doing in this class, and then building on that over time by making your projects more and more complex will get you there. And it also matters what the story is and how the audience or the culture interprets it. Okay, I'm trying to get to the next one. Here we go. So we've got the cold of blue with the warmth of pink. Which one wins? Or do they balance each other out? Do you feel cool looking at this? Do you feel calm looking at this, which is blue? Do you feel warm and happy looking at this, which is pink since it's a shade of red? Because obviously this is not a negative context, right? It's this beautiful lake with water lilies on it. So how does it make you feel? Another example of mixing. This is green and pink. That is a lot of different things, and yet somehow it works. It shouldn't. This is a great example of breaking the rules and it working. They have too many different materials in here for this to work, but you know why it works? Because it's unified by style. That is the glue that is holding this entire thing together. I love this photo. But you see, the sky, we've got that sky, that pink sky, and then the roofs of because it's a whole complex. There's a basilica, and in addition to the tower, and baptistry in addition to the basilica in Pisa, where the tower apparently no longer leans like that. Or at least it's not leaning any further. And so you get this beautiful contrast in this photo. And how does that change? What if the sky were blue? Would it feel more somber? Probably. What do the colors do to something surreal like this, where you're kind of confused about what's going on? Magritte was a surrealist painter, and he painted a lot of things that are subject to interpretation. All those beautiful warm colors. So just a lot of examples here of what happens in color combinations. I don't know, I just put that in there because I thought it was cool. Somebody changed the eyes, obviously, because cats don't have those color eyes. Thought that was cool. Okay, so let's look at this. Compare and contrast. How does color change the house? Okay, I'm going to show you 3 different iterations of the same house. Which one do you prefer? Let's do that again. Red, green, or brown. And there are always going to be people that pick the red. There are going to be people that pick the green. There are going to be people that pick the brown. And then if we change the time of day that you're visiting the house and it has an impact on the color, some people will change their minds. And that's just personal preference. Now, one of the things I like to talk about is wayfinding. And they've done a very good job of that in this building. These red entryways make it very clear that this is how you get in the building. Not only do you get in here to the second floor, but you get in here. You know, you look here, there are entrances. That's where you go. You don't wander around looking. So what begins to happen when we change the color? Does it matter? And how does color change the visuals of the school? Orange, yellow, blue. In summary, because in the beginning we asked, does color matter? The answer is yes, absolutely. Color matters. Color has meaning in our lives. We used to rely on it for survival when we were out living in the wild, and now we use it to make our environments more inviting or more interesting, or whatever the goals of our clients are. You will use color to help reach those goals. So we're going to end this here. This is the final one on color, and we will move on to the next element.